right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are here and we are going to do a tarot reading together.
It's been our first time doing something like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we'll go into the intention of it for a bit. Or or should they want to, when they're doing their centering, do they want to have the intention as well? Okay, so here.
Actually, you know what? Let's do the grounding and centering first.
Okay. So let's start over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just thought it. Yeah, let's do the grounding and centering.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are here to do a tarot reading.
Yes, we are.
And before we get into what it is going to be about, we are going to do a grounding and centering and a focusing on our cards. And you are welcome to do it along with us or not.
Yes. Or just forward ahead until we start talking again.
And we have to state that this reading is for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
So
legally, we have to say that.
Okay. So I'll just do a verbal grounding centering. So, okay. Take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And picture a beam of energy going down into the ground from your feet. Down through the earth into the core of the earth. Feel grounded and connected to earth. Now, as you breathe in, bring that energy up, a ball of energy, still connected to the earth, but a ball of energy from that shaft up while you breathe in until it's in your solar plexus. Now picture a beam of energy from the top of your head going up, past the atmosphere into the universe, connecting with the universe, with deity, whichever you prefer. Up. Connecting with all that is and the vastness of the universe. And as we breathe in, the ball of energy from the center of that shaft is going to come down and settle in your solar plexus to merge with the earth energy. Envision that energy in your solar plexus merging and filling your entire being and spreading out to surround your body in a protective shield. However you want to see it. And we will ask this tarot reading to be accurate, to be meaningful, and for whatever energy, our intuition, deity, the universe, whatever speaks to you, to be accurate and positive, and our shield is going to prevent anything negative from coming in. Only positive, only helpful. And then let's do a brief shuffling of cards while we focus on those, freeing them from any clinging energy from any previous reading to make them a clean slate, a clean book to answer our question. And we are ready to begin.
All right. Now let's talk about our intention for this reading.
Yes.
Which goes along with the intention for the Coven, which is about our activism and the success or otherwise of our efforts.
So the intent of this reading, the question is going to be, right now, how is the resistance against MAGA looking in the United States based on right now, and how is it going to look 6 months into the future? I say 6 months because that's like the standard future for tarot card readings. And we're going to look at this reading, and if the outcome doesn't look good, what can we do to change it? Because it can always be changed.
Yeah. And remember, we're talking about what we're doing and what we have done compared to worrying about what they're doing.
Exactly. This is focused. What is the resistance looking like right now? Based on now, and what is the future going to look like? And let's shuffle however while we're focusing on the question, however you choose.
Yeah.
I'm going to make noise because I shuffle 5 times. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
You do what you want.
These cards are still very stiff. They have not been shuffled nearly as many times as his. So I do a lot of overhand shuffling.
What is going on with the resistance right now? Based on now, how will it look in 6 months?
I'll try to do one regular shuffle. I am terrible. Also, remember I have carpal tunnel. So my hands don't really work very well. But hey, that's not the worst. All right.
And I will say, just at the offshoot, after we lay it out, I am going to do what I normally do, and I'm going to stand up and look at it for a minute so I can see it all.
Well, and you can be doing that while I do some close-ups.
Yes.
We're going to be bringing in the old close-up cam, so y'all can see.
So here we go.
And we're using both of our decks. And you want it slanty like that?
Yes.
I'm using the Santa Muerte deck that doesn't have big writing on it, but it does have. So even though
I am using the Mythic deck,
which he's had forever.
And it's going to be an interesting mix because this deck really speaks to me.
And this
deck really speaks to Amelia.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting to see how these two work
Got
together.
a lot of reverse. That's
So
interesting.
let's see. Let's take a look.
So we start with the world reversed, and then the Five of Pentacles upright. Next we have the King of Pentacles upright, and the Five of Wands upright. The Seven of Pentacles reversed, and the Ace of Swords upright. Next we have the Page of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, both upright. And then we have a bunch of reversed. The Nine of Swords and the Queen of Swords. The Ace of Wands and the Three of Swords. And finally, the King of Wands and the Eight of Wands. If you haven't done it yet, be sure to download the PDF showing all of these cards.
Okay.
Because we're gonna since this is the first time we've really done this for y'all, we kind of we're gonna kind of explain as we go in addition to just doing the reading. But Pitney's gonna kind of take the wheel on that, and he's going to start up here in the corner with the first position.
Yeah, and this is interesting because I'm seeing like reactions to what is going on right now with cuts, job losses, cuts.
Yeah, all those pentacles.
Possible cuts to Medicaid, possible, and the world reversed is really making everything topsy-turvy. Upright, it's the completion of a cycle. It's usually positive, not always, but it's usually, it's always positive. It's the end of a cycle of whatever that cycle is. It's the last of the majors, and you're ready to go to the full again to start something new. This being reversed, it's topsy-turvy. There's no completion yet. People are feeling lost.
Right.
People are feeling like it's not going to end, and that basically the world is turning upside down. And
which totally makes sense for a reading like this.
And what the fuck is going to happen?
But as far as we go, because we're working against the upside downness, I feel like it's representing more of the oh my god, where we just keep having to push this rock up this hill and it feels very endless. And I think
exactly,
I think that's a really interesting thing for it to start with that, because of course it does.
And the Five of Pentacles, always indicates, it's so weird, like this is so financial, and I think that's what a lot of us are worried about and pissed off about right now.
But it's also what's driving a lot of what they're doing too. So
and the Five of Pentacles indicating, financial difficulties, financial worries.
Right.
I think that's on people's minds, and it's and it's making the resistance, I don't want to say hopeless. I think it's galvanizing us, because it comes up later that we're being galvanized and people are fighting back, and it's being influenced by these things that are going on. And I totally see the King of Pentacles as Donald Trump.
Oh, sure. And the way, because the Five of Pentacles is like if it was a 4, it would be like financial stability, or building financial stability. But the 5 is not quite. And I think the combination of the oh my god, the world's upside down, and whether it's basically material things. It's not always money, but it's the actual physical world. And so our starting point is very kind of, it's causing us to be distracted. It's causing us to be too focused on did you see this? Did you see this? Did
Yeah.
you see this? And it's not, it's like we're feeling crazy.
Yeah, and it's
because of all of
it's
it.
emotionally, it's bleak and it's worrisome, but that's what's driving the
Right.
resistance right now, and that's
Right.
a good thing. I totally see the King of Pentacles as Donald Trump, because of what is coming. So I'm
Right.
not even gonna, And the Five of Wands on top of that, there is definitely creative things going on that are being reactive to Donald Trump to
Oh, yeah.
move this movement forward.
And they're kind of coming from all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, kind of the way we talk about everyone using our own strengths, whatever, if you're someone who can donate a lot of money to things, you're doing that.
Yeah.
If you're someone who can create revolutionary art, you're doing
Yeah.
that. If you're helping your neighbor, you're doing that. So it's kind of, it's all about, because Wands is kind of ideas and creativity
Yeah.
and whatever. And because it's another 5, it's a kind of scattered. I mean, it's scattered makes it seem like it's bad, but it's also good because it's coming at him from
and it's
every
coming
possible
together.
direction.
And and it's going into the future, but this is past, present, future, but it's the present.
It's all
it's immediate.
It's like these things happened chronologically, but they're all about now.
Yeah. And so what is happening is that this is just blatantly, if this was upright, the Seven of Pentacles.
Yeah.
You're pondering, you're wondering, but help is being offered. And you're wondering if it is a good idea to take this help. And it's always money. It's practical.
Yeah.
It's money. It's a house. It's a car.
It's a loan of things.
A loan, yeah.
Whether it's money, whether it's equipment, whether it's whatever.
Yeah. And having that be upside down, I think it's indicating that we are going to see cuts, and it's going to piss people off.
Right.
In monetary aid. That is what's happening. That is what's going to happen. That is what's happening now. But it's hopeful because the Ace of Swords on top of that is a card of one very strong action and focused intent coming.
And because it's the Ace, it's the beginning of it.
But also it indicates conflict to come.
Right, because it is a sword.
The swords are conflict.
It's like action, like
really strong emotion, which we're going to have to be careful to quelch, which is going to come later. Mm-hmm. Very strong emotion, but very strong impetus to go forward. So I think we're going to see cuts coming that maybe are in the works but haven't quite happened yet.
Right.
And when they hit, it's really going to piss people off, and it's going to galvanize them.
Right.
So do you have anything to add before we go on? So that's positive.
Yeah.
It starts, it's none of it is positive, but it's positive for
but the direction it's going is
positive for us, because this is indicating there's going to be conflict coming.
Right.
It ain't over. It's just beginning.
Right.
It's going to be strong, and we're going to go through a lot of emotional turmoil in it, but it's beginning, and I think it's growing stronger, and it's going to be directly related to these financial things that he's pulling. Right.
And I think, I'm gonna just sort of go with all the way across. So because we're confused and freaked and whatever in the beginning, and then we're hitting him with everything we have from all different directions, but we've been building and seeing some victories, but they're going to keep, the first 100 days, they can only do what they could do, but they're still pushing because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But because we're going to have a big, big fight, it could be in relation to like the fact that the courts are telling them to stop doing things and then they're not
Yeah.
stopping. I mean, some things, some smaller things are, but a lot of the big things they're just ignoring. I feel like that may be, and even though we are not the courts, but our influence also pushes for,
Yeah.
okay, they're already not doing it. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
And I feel like that may be the big thing, because that's the legal, because you can say, no, you can't do that, but that doesn't make them, I mean, that's the whole thing about doing illegal things.
Yeah.
You know, it's illegal. You're doing it
Yeah.
anyway. But I'm kind of feeling like that may be what the big fight is going to
Yeah.
be. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be something else that's really big. It will be emotional, because part of why a lot of people are losing heart about resisting, because, you know, you'd like to think when you win a court case that it's
Yeah.
like, oh, thank God, it's almost over.
But
no, it's not, because they're not. But those things are all building, and it's going to become more and more people who would have, people who voted for him are coming around. As more people get hurt, unfortunately, more people have to get hurt for some people to go, wait, no, fuck this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one specific big thing that's going to piss a lot of people off, and that's really going to start the mass.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, we need more people.
Right.
There's a lot of people pissed off that aren't doing shit, but we need more people, and I think something is going to happen soon.
Right. Right now, a lot of people are mad enough to whine about it, but they're not mad enough to get off their asses.
Yeah, but it's going to be a real-world thing that's going to deny people something that they want or need.
Right.
And
piss people off. When all of a sudden there's no Social Security, or all of a sudden, if they're really cutting, I mean, there was, they're cutting Medicaid and shit, which means a lot of hospitals are having to close, and that means entire parts of the country have no hospitals.
I think it's going to be Medicaid.
Yeah.
It's going to piss people off, and that's going to tip, and that's going to be the beginning of a shit show, but we need the shit show.
Because people want to complain about things like Medicare and Medicaid, but there's like a safety in them, because they know that even though politicians will say stuff, they would never actually do it, but they're actually doing it now. Yeah. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but things are passing with giant Medicaid cuts in them. So, and that affects everybody. Because even if I don't use Medicaid, if the hospital that I use survives because most of its patients are Medicaid and Medicare people, and they don't get their money anymore, that means I don't have a doctor to go to. So,
my mom uses Medicaid. I have friends that are on disability, and they depend on Medicaid and disability. And Donald is fucking with that. Yeah. And I think that, and I'm also getting a sense of, this denial of help being offered.
Right.
I've noticed, all this nonsense with, I don't even want to get into Gaza and Israel and all that.
Right.
But all this nonsense about Gaza's aid not getting to them for whatever reason.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's videos of like a child coming out of a burning hospital building that I saw today.
Oh, well, that's not all of a sudden. That's been happening.
Starving people.
Right.
And, the thing about Trump, he could get that aid going, but he fucking doesn't. Because
he doesn't want them to survive. He wants to plow it over and put up a resort and have those people work for him. And I think
that's a part of it too. He's not giving aid to Americans.
Yeah, all the America First stuff.
Yeah.
People who vote for America First think that means, so I get help.
Yeah.
Because I'm American.
He's not giving FEMA to states that need it.
Yeah. All those tornadoes in Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all of this, and I think it's going to be monetary that really pisses people off.
Yeah,
that's going to galvanize. But so now we're going into the actions that we need to take.
Where we have a Page of Swords and a Knight of Pentacles.
And the Page of Swords is both a warning and a trumpet call.
Right.
The Page of Swords is...
I always think of Page as like delivering a message.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah. He's impulsive. He's gung-ho. He's like, fuck yeah, we're going to go fight this. And
right.
But there's also a penchant for bitterness, gossip, ugliness.
Sure.
It's always a warning about, ugliness. I think in this reading, it means both things. We're going to be galvanized to go forward, and we need to go gung-ho.
Right. Yeah, we got to hit as hard as they're hitting.
But we need to be careful that we don't get into really ugly rhetoric, because that is going to damage our brand, as it were, as the resistance.
Right.
We don't want to get into, these signs, fuck Trump or death to Trump or whatever the fuck people may do when they get pissed off. We can't do that.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a temptation to do that.
Right.
And I think the Knight of Pentacles is...
That's a very positive card disposition.
Yeah. And I think, go forward in the physical world with all you got and don't hold back. And that is going to cross this youthful, immature impulsiveness, the practicality. I see that we need to use this impulsiveness to go forward, to be practical, that we're not going over the top where it's going to ruin our brand or not bring more people to it. Because the ugly fact of it is, we need to get Republicans on our side too, or this ain't gonna.
Little bits are starting, but one of the things I love about these two cards together is that because he's a knight, even though he's a Knight of Pentacles, he has a sword because he's a knight.
Oh yeah.
So he is practicality, but he's practicality in action and fighting.
Yeah.
Even though he's, it's more solid because he's a pentacle.
And so our action is, take that practicality, use that emotion and that anger.
Yeah.
But be practical about it, because we need to get some of them on our side. And I think if we can quelch that really virulent things that we say privately, which I would never put on a protest sign,
Right.
Because we need those people, but I think they're going to come, because they're going to be so pissed off. They're going to come.
Yeah.
And they're, but we need to be careful not to be seen as just all of these freaky, hippie.
Whether
blah, blah, blah,
or not
blah.
I'm a blue-haired leftist or whatever, I'm my blue-haired queer-ass liberal, but still, it's our movements have to be planned and
and the thing about the Ace of Swords too, it's straight, direct focus.
Right.
We need to be focused on the movement is pissed off because of this, and this related to money.
Right.
That is going to be the focus to get people to come to our side, I think.
Yeah.
And this is telling us to go with that focus, use that anger, but be practical about it and realize the best way to go about it, where we're not seeming like a bunch of drugged out hippies that are just, you know what I mean?
And that we're just we're sitting here sniffing our own butts, as opposed to we have to communicate with the people who are currently on the other side and say, come on, man, you don't want this.
Yeah. And I think it's going to happen.
And whether that means, like when we talk about writing letters or whatever, if your letters have been all to your own, if let's say I have a Democrat representing my district, but I actually write a hell of a lot more to the Republicans in neighboring districts, because they're the ones that need to be influenced more than my guys.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes I go in really hard, don't you want to be, going for their egos? Don't you want to be the guy who saves us by standing up to all this crap?
Yeah.
And don't you want to be the name we remember, because you're not important unless you're the guy who fixes it. And even that, talking to using your creativity to come up with a way to talk to voters in a way that makes them want to listen to you,
Yeah.
as opposed to yelling at them and calling them
Exactly,
morons.
and that's what this is saying.
Yeah.
And I do think that, I mean, this probably isn't true for all of them, but I just think that Republican elected officials are just beyond redemption. And they all need to go fuck themselves, and we need to speak to their voters to change their votes.
Right.
Like Ted Cruz is beyond redemption.
Yeah, like if you
Ron
look at Ted
DeSantis
Cruz,
is beyond redemption.
Ted Cruz
Obama,
came in as a Tea Party guy,
Yeah.
and Tea Party guy was that extremely fiscal conservative thing. And it's like, Ted, you are wasting all of the government's money on all of this bullshit, and you fucking know it. Like I have no problem.
We need to focus on the voters, but
at them.
It's looking like things are gonna be good for our side,
right? So, like,
if this happens, something is going to happen. It's really going to piss people off. The energy of the resistance is going to be way focused on a laser thing. I think it's going to be money, but we need to be careful that we don't go too over the top because we need people to our side. That's what I think this is saying.
Right. That all the scattershot stuff from before, that's great, but when the shit really hits the fan, whatever that thing coming up is, and it could be any time now, we have to focus our efforts and really hit them in a way like, all of their constituents turning against them would be the hardest thing that we could hit them with.
And that's what we need to, but I think this is actually looking really hopeful to me.
Interestingly, because of all the reverses, that makes me go eek right away, but it's not negative.
Utter downfall of Donald.
No.
But he's definitely, his pride is going to take a hit, and
that's the best way to hit it.
It is going, because we're going from utter despair and thinking this is a total fucking nightmare to a sense of that may end a little bit. There's going to be something that's going to make him topple, that we're going to be hopeful. And it'll seem like we get relief from the nightmare, at least in one aspect of it.
Right.
Whatever this is relating to.
And this corner where we are is where we've got the Nine of Swords and the Queen of Swords.
And the Queen of Swords crossing it reversed. That's interesting to me
both
because
reversed.
I always would call the Queen of Swords the bitch card.
Yes.
And it's so funny. I remember I was doing a tarot class. And I was just dealing them out like cards.
Right.
And everybody would be like describing the card, and then make people guess what it is to make them learn the cards.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I had this card and I said, bitchism. And my partner in the game, because I was pairing people up,
knew exactly what it was.
Instantly said the Queen of Swords.
Yeah. So we've got.
Not always a bitch. She's very strong, and she's not always a bitch.
Bitches get shit done. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
But the fact that this is reversed on top of this reversal of just this nightmare scenario, which is not going to be temporary, because remember these number cards, they're just emotions. They're snapshot in time.
It's like if you look at all the number cards in numerical order, there's a sequence to events. And it's telling you like where you are and how you're reacting.
This is going to be, there's going to be a victory. It's going to seem like the nightmare is over. But there's a warning too, to not get, again, like this.
Don't get too cocky.
Yeah. Stay focused. Resist that urge to push too hard, I want to say, even though we need to push hard.
Well, it's you're winning a battle, but you haven't won the war.
Yeah. So be careful.
Yeah.
The Ace of Wands reversed with the Three of Swords reversed on top of it. That's fabulous because the Ace of Wands reversed. There's something that was in the works with MAGA, right?
Right.
That they were planning, but because of this, they can't do it.
Because of our efforts and their bad planning and
blocked from going forward with something. And I don't see this as us being blocked from going forward. I see it as them being blocked.
I think so too.
And
because it's a wand, are you thinking it's something more
I think it's some bullshit 2025 policy thing that they were going to try to sneak past us.
And it's something more
they're not
bigotry related.
Yeah.
Because it's more of about an idea.
I think so.
That's what
I think so. And the Three of Swords reversed on top of that again it's just like, the Three of Swords and the Nine of Swords are very ugly cards upright. You know, this is nightmares, trauma, PTSD,
Right.
being tormented, utter despair, but it's reversed because of this temporary victory.
Assuming we do what we're supposed to do, that's where we're going to end up.
That's going to lead to, they have some fucking crazy idea. They're not going to be able to do it because they're going to realize people aren't going to put up with their shit.
And because we've gathered their forces against them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Three of Swords reversed is great. Like that is the end of despair. But
right.
Again,
upright, it's like a heartbreak.
It's depression.
Yeah.
It's loss. It's grieving. It's heartbreak. It's reversed. We're going to feel a triumph. It's going to be like the same thing. It's the end of the nightmare. We're going to feel a triumph.
Yeah.
But it's not permanent. It's a snapshot in time, but it's really fucking fabulous.
Yeah.
And when this idea fails, whatever this crazy ass piece of shit idea that they have is going to fail.
Because the King of Wands is reversed here.
Trump, he's going to suffer a big loss.
Ideologically, people are going to go, what an asshole.
Some big plan that he has is going to fail.
Yep.
He's going to suffer a loss. And the Eight of Wands on top of that is indicating, it's competition, but it's usually the competition of equals. And that's what people miss in the Eight of Wands. If you look at, it'll be like 4 wands and 4 wands if there's a battle and it's equal. Or it'll be like they're apart, they're equal. And it is competition. It's learning strength through competition. Right. And I think it being reversed, I feel like both sides are going to be equal for this one moment.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a united front. And somehow Trump is going to take a big fall. It's not going to be the end.
Right.
But somehow he's going to take a big fall. And I think it's going to be through a united front of us and them.
Right. And because Wands Wands is a thought, is an ideology, is whatever. This one, the Eight of Wands has a change aspect, like how you feel about reacting to change.
Yeah.
And the reversed is being wary of change. But I think because ideologically he's going to be defeated.
Yeah.
All these people who were you're talking about cult members essentially.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, but we were so sure we were right. And that's the hardest thing. Yeah. That is the hardest thing for anyone to do.
Really interesting.
Like if you think about what you believe and imagine someone talking to you in such a way that it causes you to completely turn 180 around on something. And that's one of the reasons why I really admire people who were raised to be racist, who were raised to be something, and then they
fucking change.
And they change. Like I didn't have to do that, but when other people do that, it's an amazing thing, and I appreciate those people that much more. And I think right here, because we're talking about all of this shit that happened and this huge battle and this ideological victory, all those people that helped us with it, they're going to be they're still going to be struggling because they've literally been saying shit like he was ordained by God
or
and
Jesus or whatever the fuck.
All the like they're overdoing a bit in their worship of their idol worship of him, and they're gonna have a lot of troubles, but they'll know deep down that they did the right thing, but they're going to still, I'm kind of seeing that they may, that they may have some, once they get it done, they may there may still be more battles for quite beyond that. Sorry, man, because they're going to still be so torn.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing is that right
coming
there
together, because if this was upright,
yeah,
I mean, it would still be Trump falling, but if this was upright, it would indicate, like an equal amount from either side, and it was still gonna be more not what
right.
we need.
And we're all in, and we're all doing it together. This is
indicating that it's, with these other cards that indicated that we are going to get some people on our side, and the movement is going to grow.
Yeah.
Because something is going to really piss people off in mass.
And once they start to be against him, the cracks are forming. Yeah, and they'll start. I think that's when the ideological.
Yeah,
stuff
and I think
will
it's going to be a bunch of old people coming up with all us 30-something hippies that are
right.
Well, no, there's a lot of old people at protests that I've gone to, but I think a lot of old people are going to be, and Republicans, pissed off when stuff gets cut.
Well, remember, the old hippies are
the
hippies of the hippie days are the old people now.
And that's what's going to go, and there's going to be a coming together, and this isn't the end, but he's going to have a big defeat.
And because it was brought about by money, but it ends up ideological, and so it's almost I mean, once you get people thinking differently, not hey, I need my money, but oh wow, maybe he was wrong about other things.
Yeah.
And that's when their minds are going to be changing more.
So the advice is, when the shit hits the fan,
get ready.
People are really going to be pissed off. Get ready to do what you got to do, but don't give in to antagonizing the other side.
Right.
Ugly verbiage.
Right.
Nasty signs. Don't give in to that, because it's not going to do any good. Go forward with practicality and be grateful that other people are coming, and then you can reach them.
Right.
Use that emotional energy to go forward, definitely.
Right.
And enjoy the ride.
But, like, for example,
but be wary of the anger and the rhetoric.
Right. And like, if you have just an example of the people maybe to start with, depending on, if you've got someone, let's say in your family or in your family's circle of people that you've been avoiding because they voted for him.
Oh, yes. I have that.
Well, I mean, I have some of my own. But if you find out that those people are getting hit by this shit, those may be the first people you could be like, remember, try not to do the I told you so.
I know. And that's going to be so hard for me. I know.
But that's a, it's like, but
a great example.
He said all along he was going to do this, and you just assumed Medicaid was safe. You assumed Medicare was safe. No one would dare touch Medicare. But he's been saying he and his people have been saying all along, we're going to cut waste. And then they prove to you that what they think is waste is stuff they don't use or stuff they don't need, that they personally don't, and they don't give a shit about whether or not we need it. And that's going to be the,
and we can't
making the little cracks.
We can't be ugly and say I told you so. And that's, I do think that won't happen. I don't see any indication of that happening in mass,
Right.
And that's good.
But for anyone who is looking at this for guidance on what they think, what us telling them what to do, that's...
Well, we're not.
We're not.
We're just giving...
The cards are telling them
this is based on what the cards are saying.
And what...
As a snapshot of the energies right now around the resistance and around what's going on with...
But it's guiding...
regime.
It's guiding how we're going to approach things, because it's saying, if you do this, then you have a better shot, because the goal is we can't do it by ourselves. We have to turn the other people around. And I mean, civil rights movement wouldn't have worked if there weren't a lot of white people who were willing to march with them. I mean, it's going to happen. Gay rights and stuff, it took all of the straight people who were open-minded to speak out on their behalf.
I just want to say something to I think that I really do think that it's going to be financial to get a
To
lot
piss
more
off
people
the
galvanized.
maximum number, yes.
And I think the Page of Swords is also kind of a warning, with the Knight of Pentacles being practical and Pentacles being money. I think it's the resistance needs to focus on that they don't need to mention gay, trans.
Right.
Don't mention that shit. It's very important. But don't mention
one issue
that
at a time,
because it's going to alienate people.
Yeah.
Don't mention that shit.
The important thing is to fight the regime, and you can't fight on every front simultaneously.
If the regime is brought down by the financial shit they're doing, it's still going to follow that when it's down, gay rights and trans rights and blah, 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 it's all going to come back because that is America.
Right.
Don't nitpick people that are fighting because they lost their Social Security.
Right. This isn't a purity test.
And dress like a drag queen in front of them and make them accept you because you're whatever. This ain't the time for that. Right now.
Because one of the problems that the left has is we do a lot of purity tests of each other, and someone could have been an incredibly kind, open-minded person their whole life, but one time they invested in a company, or one time they, it's like people getting like, well, he had a really unpleasant date once where he got a little handsy and he shouldn't have. Therefore, fuck that guy forever, no matter what he says or does. And we can't. The fact that we already know they voted for Trump. We already know these people voted for Trump. We are getting them to be on our side long enough to help. And if that's the only issue they stay with, hey, at least we had them for a minute.
But I think organically they'll meet people.
Sure.
Through the movement that are like, oh my God, this person is trans. Oh my God, this person is gay.
Right, because that ultimately is the biggest problem.
Yeah,
is they don't know anybody.
And I do think the Page of Swords is a warning too of don't bombard them with social issues that really are not that important right now in the big picture. They're very important, but they're not that important in the big picture right now.
Yeah, he's literally well, he's not, he doesn't have a horn in his mouth, but he's literally, he's blowing, he's yelling and screaming and singing.
He's blowing smoke out of his ass.
He's literally sitting on a cloud and blowing smoke.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what we got for you.
This is fascinating.
That's what we got. Comment, write emails.
And be sure to look down in the notes below when you're watching this on YouTube, and there will be links to our blog, which is where a lot of our Coven stuff is. Of course, our podcast has regular Coven meetings. Part of why we're doing this is because we had to skip a meeting for reasons, but there will also we're going to put together a document that has images of all the cards in it, so that you can have that with you while you follow along.
So, anyway,
oh my God,
I hope this was useful,
and definitely use the contact form on our blog to officially join the Coven. And if you really loved this and you want us to do more of these, because we've talked about doing them on Zoom, we've talked about, but we really wanted to get this one. We've been wanting to do this for a while.
So, I mean, we'll have to do it remotely if we do it again.
Of course, but through Zoom, that's easy.
We'll have to figure out how that's going to go, but we'll do it. We can do it.
Sure.
So,
why not? We can do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day, whenever you're watching this. I feel like I should say something profound.
Fuck MAGA, fuck Trump. And look at my Bernie shirt.
Oh, yes, you are wearing your Bernie shirt. Very cute.
And there we go.
Thank
you. Goodbye.
Mwah.